If it's love, I want everything. Touch my soul, touch my heart, don't judge my mental. They told me that life is simple, been real since Papa Pimple. I started out in the rental, Sonata, the presidential. Speak once and listen twice, they told me that less is simple.
Russell Wilson went to the Oscars with a bust down who showed up naked as she stood by his side. We have to talk about this.
What's good, my people? What's good? It's GATV back at it again, and me gravitating away trying to spin with this narrative, man. And the narrative that's apparently out here is Ciara and Cole Bailey breaks the internet. Now, I was going to do two different videos, but I thought it was appropriate to liken both of them in one video. And I had a video on Ciara already, a couple weeks ago with her promoting this new song, telling girls go be outside, all that other stuff. And it's over there if you want to check it out. It was a really good video, but this is in a new space right now for today because, our women are absurd, man. And I'm at the point where, brothers, if it's not your wife, your girl, your daughter, your mother, sometimes it's better to leave these things alone. If it was not for the fact that these are celebrities in a space where no matter how much you want to censor your children from seeing this stuff, the older they get, it's out there. So the least I could do, especially as a content creator, I'm gonna talk about it. Because the seemingly, I'll say, comparable response seems to be cheerlead. That's the problem in our space, cheerlead. And every time we speak about these things, it's always our people, specifically women, that are quick to say, well, what about them white folks over there? It was a theme this in Ciara's issue with her Oscar dress. It's a theme that. It's a theme this. But, you guys chase European approval. That's what it's about, man. But that real European, he don't want his wife out there looking like that. That I assure you. Before I dive too deep into all of this, I'm gonna play a clip from that weird network, Fox Soul. I try my best not to watch it, but they have a segment with a few panelists called TGIF. And I usually try not to give this stuff energy or attention, but one of the brothers, spoke it very well, and I was surprised by it that I had to share this clip. So let's check this out, and I'll come back again with my commentary.
I don't agree. I'm sorry. I had to go with the core of my feeling. I thought that it looked desperate. I thought that it cries, I'm going through something and I need some attention. This is one of Hollywood's biggest events ever. You made a choice to wear that outfit. You knew how provocative and revealing it was. And the other part of that is, just last week you took me on a Christian crusade when you guys partnered with God Behind Bars, and Russell gave a prayer, or prayed with these prisoners down in Florida, and you sang a song for them in all of the Christian faith and being a good Christian family. And then 1 week, less than 7 days later, you're walking out here with your nipples out and your ass out, and you're married, and you're supposed to be the example of not only black love but Christian love. The two just aren't adding up. Now, with that being said, this is my opinion. She has a beautiful body. She looks gorgeous. She's with her husband. If he don't mind, then maybe she don't mind. But it appears to me that Russell might not have a lot of say in what Ciara wants to do, and especially in events like this.
So you heard it right there from the brother, and I was surprised by his reaction, because usually he sides with a lot of foolishness, when really it's the perspective of that panel and the entire Fox Soul. They got the Vivica of the world, all these other women that are faded but still holding on to the provocative, actions of the females in modern times today. And I'll mention something that I thought was interesting, because if you guys don't know, last week, Ciara and Russell took this Christian cruise, and it's just a whole facade of portraying yourself as this Christian woman. And I don't know about y'all, anytime a sister or a man too comes at me promoting heavy Christianity, you know, mind you, I have a father who's a Christian pastor. You know, anytime I have these people promote this, as a PK kid that grew up in church, I'm telling y'all, run from these folks. Many of them have, if they haven't already been in the world, in the secular world, acting all type of wildish foolishness, they're the types that maybe have been on lockdown, and those are some of the scariest people to be around because they haven't tasted that sin that's out here the way you think they would. So they run amok, man. They run loose. And also many of them have been already a part of it, but they like to mingle in the crowd and pretend they're holier than thou. So I always think it's such a facade to play that role. You're double dipping. You know what I mean? You're double dipping. You got one foot here and the other foot there. And check out this picture real quick, because I thought it was very, very telling of the type of man Russell Wilson is with Ciara. And mind you, I'm one of these guys that used to try to root for Russell, and I would speak against brothers coming for him, but I mean, I can't. How can you defend a brother like this? Look at his face. Look at his face. Is that not the face of a man that is emasculated? A man that is not the leader of his household? Yeah, you could have all the money in the world, but show me how your woman is and I'll tell you the type of man you are. Ladies, this is no disrespect. Mind you, only a hit dog hollers. So if this ain't you or pertaining to you, please don't come in my comments trying to promote or defend foolishness like that. And that's the problem. You know, you ladies have let Hollywood dictate how you will appear to be. And my biggest problem is remembering how black exploitation was. I remember in the 90s, we used to look at movies from the 70s of black exploitation. And I remember thinking, damn, man, we got so much queens out here for them to show us this. It can't be just that, man. There are standards that we cry about, but we don't uphold. So if you're going to defend Hollywood standard, leave out the social warrior justice, leave out the moral rationale that you love to promote, ladies. Leave that out. And of course, I can talk about the thug narrative that Hollywood pushes, but this subject is on this matter. And I have a big issue with it, man. You can't tell me when you look at young women that they're not being influenced by this, which leads me to the second part of this video, where I'm going to talk about Cole Bailey and, you know, her choosing to play a certain scene with the brother from Snowfall. Now, you gotta forgive me if I didn't remember his name off top. I think it was, that's right, it's Damson Idris. I love the brother's acting. I think he's excellent. But understand, in the scene that Cole Bailey chooses to do with the brother, understand what she puts herself in terms of being categorized in Hollywood. Those are the roles that will be for her. Those are the roles that will be for her. And I remember such a thing of a Denzel Washington explaining why he chooses not to do certain roles. And better yet, guys, let me play the clip of what Denzel said about not playing certain roles, and you'll understand what my commentary will be on Cole Bailey. Check me out for a second.
Being on the stage, the amount of training we had, you know, the city party, I was very fortunate. In fact, he came no, I talked to him before that, but I think it was when we came to Soldier's Play. And he said, "You're good."
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and wow. I got a part in a movie in 1986. I called it The Nigga They Couldn't Kill.
Oh.
Yeah, he was supposed to be, he raped a white woman, and they tried to electrocute him, but it didn't work. And he became sort of a cult hero. No, not that one. That was the other awful one. But and then they tried to hang him, and they tried to do all this stuff. And I had a lot of training day in me. And there were some Jewish people in the audition, and I said, yeah. They said, no, it's funny. It's like they hang them and then they can't. I said, yeah, like you bring some Jewish people into a room and they think it's a shower, but it's gas. Oh. And they said, right. I said, right. That ain't funny. So to me, it wasn't funny about putting a rope around my MFing net either. I made a point. The guy was like, who the hell is this little nigga coming in talking like this? So anyway, make a long story long, I called Sydney and I was sick because he told me to call him. If I said, man, they offered me $600,000 to play the nigga they couldn't kill. And he said, I'm not gonna tell you what to do. He said, I'm not gonna tell you that, Denzel. He says, but I can tell you this. The first 2 or 3 or 4 films you do in this business will dictate how you're perceived in this business. So you make a decision. You know, he didn't tell me what to do, and I give him credit for that. And I turned it down, and 6 months later, I got Cry Freedom and got an Oscar nomination. So it could have gone an entirely, you never know. It could have gone, my whole career could have gone an entirely different way. Well, in a different way.
Okay, Miss Davis?
And all the Jewish people now, just making a point. But I was dead serious about that because they were laughing. Like, oh no, it's funny. They electrocute him, and then I could just see the poster with me with a rope around my neck. I just had dreams about it. Like,
I have a question.
Right there,
that
folks.
wacky guy
Right
trying to
there.
kill.
The first 2, 3, or 4 films you do will dictate how you're perceived. This is why, if you're familiar with movies from Hollywood, especially I'm talking about black cinema, realize the certain roles a lot of maybe our favorite actors and actresses play are damn near the same thing in every other movie. There's a reason why, folks. There's a reason why.
And I remember when I first read the script, I was like, oh, this is insane, this is incredible, and I cried, and then I realized, you gotta do that sex scene, girl. And as open and liberal as I am with my body, I was very scared because I haven't had that many partners. I'm not like that sexual and open. So I was like, whoo. I was like, okay. So Damson made it really comfortable. You know, there were limited people on set. It was a closed set. We were laughing in between. We literally had a bouncy ball in between us. And, we were making a joke out of it. So it took all of the nervousness away from that. So I have to give a lot of kudos to him as a man for making me as a woman feel comfortable literally being raw and naked.
I'm not knocking the sister Cole Bailey. I'm not knocking her. But when you look back, you can literally timeline when the changes start happening. Because I used to watch these girls, on Grownish, even before that. And I remember, these are stars in the making. And someone was telling me, who I put a lot of faith in their opinions, they were telling me that Beyonce is mentoring those young sisters and seeing who their family are, the backgrounds they have. You couldn't pay me $1 million telling me that's who that girl was gonna be today. Now, I'm not calling her out of her name. Remember, folks, let's be emotionally rational and take control of what's being said. What I'm talking about is perception. Optics is everything, especially in the world of Hollywood and the influence the characters in that world plays. You're not gonna pretend that it's nothing. This nonchalant attitude we have with how we are viewed and perceived, but then turn around and want to be outraged about racism and all these other matters, we look like goofballs, y'all. We look like goofballs. We don't set the standards anymore. We love to say, we're copied, we get culturally, dipped into when it comes to our things, whether it's our music, our fashion, everything. Everybody taps into this culture and steals, plagiarizes, all this stuff. But yet we're over here chasing Hollywood's perception of what is beauty, what is being independent, what is a woman supposed to wear, how a brother acts. So when I saw Cole Bailey first had a viral moment when it came to her, sharing a thirst trap with a t-shirt, I thought of Adina's Howard t-shirt and panties on. She was giving us a visual into her being sexualized by the hands of her own self. So I was never surprised by the scene she played with our brother Idris, only because I saw this timeline happening. Now, if it was just about Grownish, I saw a few things here and there, but I just thought innocent fun. So like I said, you couldn't pay me $1 million until I saw that viral thirst trap video of her being very seductive in skimpy underwear and a t-shirt. Like, you know, it's fun. Yeah, it's fun if you're doing that in your room, recording it in your own phone, but you're sharing it to the entire world, especially with a woman whose name holds weight like that. Here's the interesting thing that, you know, my daughter and me was talking about. She mentions, what about her sister? How you feel about her? I told her I don't know because she doesn't necessarily carry herself like her sister, but at the same time, I wonder if she had the physical dimensions like her sister, would she be more secure to be more revealing as her sister? Then you think about her being engaged to DDG. I'm sure he has a say in how he feels about how she showcases herself out here. Now, does it matter? Because yes, she is a grown woman. She should really worry about her head first. I get it. But you represent one another when you're in a union. And my thing is, no matter how DDG becomes an influence in this girl's life, her sister is the one that was walking in this Hollywood, you know, of fame. Her sister was the one that was with her through all this. So my thing is, what will happen when one day she says, you know what, my sister's getting more clout by showing herself more out there, becoming sexualized, becoming stereotypes? Maybe I want to get that too, because, you know, I'm the woman that's the safe one, which a lot of our sisters look at as something to belittle, as the girl that wants to be modest, the girl that wants to respect her husband, her children, her family, her character, her morals, her values. A lot of those girls might speak that way, but many of them are looking at the Cole Baileys and all these other girls that, you know, perform thirst trap roles and whatnot. And they look at it with envy, and that envy sometimes turns to jealousy. That jealousy turns to questioning your morals and values. I'm telling you guys, I'm not here to be the moral police. If I can get through maybe a few young folks that says, you know what, this ain't the road for me, I'm telling you, I'm doing my job. But in the grand scheme of things, I'm hoping this can evoke, you know, sentiments to those of us that do think critically and say, hey man, that's not how I want to be viewed. My legacy will not be the typical black woman in Hollywood who is represented in this manner. You know, people, for all its worth and all the backlash LeBron James can get, all the criticisms one may have for him, end of the day, his wife Savannah James carries herself in that world, in that light. There's accountability with her perception. She maintains the aura of a queen. Now, I don't know her in her personal life. We don't know what, you know, entanglements they could have in the dark. We don't know any of that. We don't hold anyone in a pedestal, but I solely tell you this from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate seeing that. Her understanding how she reflects her man and vice versa. I'm telling you guys this. When you're watching this woman and all the years she had in this light, you can say she's only relevant because of LeBron James. I do not care. What makes her attractive and beautiful is not necessarily, you know, her physical attributes. It's not necessarily that. I'm telling you, it's not necessarily her features. None of that. It's when it can be matched with how she presents herself. No scandals, folks. No derogatory statements about how she carries herself. That's the woman you can bring to a professional gathering and your colleagues and peers salute you, because they know something about you and something about that woman makes you both look like the epitome of truly a black family that is headed by man, woman, then children. Of course, God above, if that's what you believe in. But I'm saying, for all the slack Savannah James get, the Ciaras of the world, and unfortunately, I don't want to seem to be going hard on the Cole Baileys out here, but because she's young. But unfortunately, Cole Bailey is falling in the same patterns of a Ciara. And this is why it is so important why you check an older woman like the Ciara. And there are even women older than that, you know, propagates around here and perpetuates the typical black woman stereotype in Hollywood. There are plenty of women that do that, but the Ciaras of the world, why it is important to combat that narrative with women like her, because you got the Cole Baileys of the world, started off young, classy, had all the prominence of being someone that can be revered in the light, you know, in a way I would say, with other young females who can look at them and say, that's a role model. Not in the lazy, nonchalant Hollywood role model because they have influence. No, not that. I'm talking about where there is nothing to be explained. You see that woman and you know she represents what you're supposed to look like if you claim to be of worth, if you claim to be of value. You can't talk about being a feminist, being perpetuated in such a negative view, and then go ahead and boast that you're gonna be half naked, and you call that being independent. You call that black girl magic. And a lot of you wouldn't like it if it was your daughters doing that. You can say whatever you want, but you wouldn't. And you see, you're gonna say something like probably, well, if she's grown, she can do what she wants. But here's the problem. This with their grown crap happens to these young ladies, especially in the black community, as young as 11, 12, 13. They're already looking ahead and want to be like those females. They dress up like them. Oh man, it's so much going on out here that it really gets bothersome trying to talk about these things, because then you'll think I'm the character that Ciara says I have selective outrage. Look, this ain't no Chris Rock joint by a long stretch. This is about maintaining order and balance, because things are getting crazy, y'all. You know, you can step out your house and see it for yourself. You don't need Hollywood to see it. You can just go down the street, especially when you live where I live. I can't even say that. I've literally traveled everywhere. It's happening everywhere in this country, specifically. The Western Hemisphere, yes, but this country. I'm telling y'all. So it's important when we combat these narratives. You know, shout out to the Savannah James of the world. Shout out to all the women that hold themselves accountable. Maybe, you know, you ladies might think this way, that way. You want to, you know, look sexy. Nothing wrong with that. But you know the lines that you won't cross. See, if we have to talk about it or it's confusing, then more than likely 9 times out of 10 you're crossing boundaries that you know have reprehensible damage in the long run. And in retrospect, when you look back, you'll understand a message like those that I'm making didn't come from a negative place. You will understand that this did not come from a negative place. This was your boy gravitating away, hoping we all hold ourselves accountable. Like, comment, share, subscribe. But folks, as per usual, keep coming back. Yeah.